hold
Oh
his head.
man.
Yeah, totally makes sense.
I don't know. I don't have any topics. Go. Somebody.
I was watching this video. Like, I forgot
Oh,
exactly
jumping
what. Yeah.
I thought we were gonna like casually, gradually go into it.
Yeah, that's what we were gonna do.
Okay.
Like, how's your day? What you eat? How you feeling?
I
No?
mean, okay. Nah.
Oh man,
I-
feelings? What's
How y'all
that?
doing? I know Maruchan's tired. Been tired all
Yeah.
day.
Tired.
We could definitely hear it in his voice.
For some reason, I just feel more tired doing online classes than doing normal classes.
You're straining your
I
eyes
know.
the entire.
I guess, but I'm
Yeah.
usually like, I'm on the computer all day anyway, so it's just weird to me.
Well, I
No,
think
it's sucking my blood.
doing something that's enjoyable, like playing a game on the computer or watching a YouTube video, whatever you're doing, compared to working your brain at the same time doing whatever work you're given and paying attention, doing notes, and so on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Did you say something?
No, sorry. I was clearing my throat. I'm trying.
Okay. I was just going into the deep dive of YouTube videos the other day. And that's I didn't know.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Oh my god. Do you want to say something?
No, I'm clearing my throat. You know, okay, never mind.
You keep coughing. Get the corona out of your system.
I can't hear anyone because of his coughing or whatever he's doing.
Are you good? Oh no, he muted himself.
There you go.
This is such a rough start.
So I found people were doing surgery and they were putting magnets like inside of their hands. And it's just I just don't understand what they're doing it for. Like it's this long process and you're cutting open your finger and you're putting this like small magnet inside. And it's just very weird to me.
Is it for a patient or putting
No.
magnets
Yeah, like they're putting it inside their hand.
surgeons?
It's just because they want to. It's not for medical purposes. It's for I want to put a magnet inside of my hand. And they'll pick up like paper clips with it because
I
it's
guess
not a.
it's for just in case their like scalpel falls in the patient, it won't fall.
No, they're doing it themselves. It's not even like it's usually the people cutting open their hands themselves. Like they'll learn the process of doing it, and then they'll cut it open themselves. So it's not like a doctor's doing it all the time.
But what is the purpose of this?
I don't think there is one. I think it's just for like, hey guys, I have a magnet in my hand.
Like, wow, I have a superpower. Whom.
Quarantine's getting to everyone's heads. Everyone's going insane now.
Yes.
Yes,
I don't
that's
know.
definitely true.
But something that science is doing that's not insane, or actually it is insane, but it's the good kind of insane, is they're making it so that you can have like a bionic arm, like a metal arm that you can actually feel stuff with. And I was looking it up, and like,
Prosthetic.
they have like sensors that connect to like where, say, if you didn't
Your
have an
neurons.
arm or you needed it cut off, like they would connect it to like the stub, and then you would be able to like feel stuff with your metal arm. And it was the coolest thing to me because it's just like you have a metal arm that works
But also,
properly.
like at the same time, like some patients occasionally have a phantom pain, which basically means like they have no arm and they feel the pain in that sort of region. That could also happen, and I think that's a little weird, but okay.
Yeah, phantom pain is just weird. It's like when people do like they hit a fake arm with a mallet, but you still feel it for some reason.
Yeah,
The brain,
definitely.
it's just weird.
You're just brain's confused that your arm's not there anymore.
Yeah, I've seen the
the fake arm is the real arm.
I've seen the arm thing before. They use like pressure sensors in the fingertips, and then they connect like electricity, like almost a current through your nerves, and that's kind of how they do it, and sends that impulse to your brain. It's really cool how they got that to work, though.
Similar to like robots and such, right?
Pretty much. It's just like it's a literal cyborg now. It's like it's not even like
Wow.
just this prosthetic that's like on your stub. It is
Mhm.
now your arm metal. It is not this thing on your stub. It's amazing.
Prosthetic limbs are always
I
something
know
that's
stub is not the
constantly
proper term.
in development just because you're trying to get them back to as close to a normal life as possible. And originally giving them the ability to grab stuff or at least having a fake arm so they can feel comfortable and not like everyone's staring at them because they have a stub. And now it's sort of evolved to the point where they are trying to give people the sense of touch again, or they are trying to give them close to the range of movement that they would have with a normal arm, and so on. And was saying with like pressure sensors and sending electrical currents to the severed nerves on the stub.
You
Well,
said
that's
his
just
name.
crazy.
Darn.
And it works too. I saw a video as well like a few months ago. I actually saved it in a playlist I have. And the person didn't have the arm on themselves. And they would touch the fingers and they couldn't see the arm at all. And they could still accurately predict what they're feeling or at least how forcefully someone's pressing their hand or pressing a finger and what finger is being pressed. Because the nerve isn't just a single one. It's a network of nerves and that composes your entire nervous system. And when they hook up these specific sensors to it that send electrical currents to it, you can feel areas of your arm that aren't even there.
Yeah, we're all nerds.
Wow. Just in case if the viewers never knew about that, yeah, we're budget.
Nerds.
No, we're
So, and you got that, and then you got people using science to put magnets in their hands. So I just thought that was interesting.
that is like polar opposites.
Heal the wound afterwards. They just like cut their hand open. What do they do with that afterwards? And if
Like,
it's such a
like
deep
they take
magnet, then they probably get stitches. So how do they explain that to a doctor that's going to give them stitches? I cut my hand open. Then they're probably
Yeah,
going to go
that's
to a
big
mental
brain.
hospital because they're going to assume they're suicidal or something. It's just
no,
dumb.
no. There's an actual like process thing to it. Like I've watched this whole video trying to figure out why they're doing it. And there's a small incision that they put at like the end of your fingertip. And you
Right.
put a magnet that's like very small inside of it.
Mhm.
It's like coated in like gold or something else.
Mhm.
And then you stitch up that small incision. And then you have to wait for like 2 months for it to heal properly. And then you just have a magnet in your finger. And some people do this like 5 times to cover their entire hand. So then they're just sticking their hand to things. And you
Very
can
limited.
go to like
But what
you
if they
can
get like
go-
what if they get like like on some elevators like occasionally it's like it's like metal and how do they get their fingers? It's just like stuck there.
That's what I was going to talk about. They're usually probably like small, those really small circular rare earth metal magnets. They're not really that powerful. They're usually just to stick pictures on your refrigerator or something like that. The most they can do
Those
is
ones.
lift a paper clip. It's not going to like stick your hand to a metal wall, and that's what it's just going to say. It seems really limited. It's not really cool. If you could lift like a metal wall or stick to a metal wall like Spider-Man, well, then
The
that's
real
awesome.
earth benders, the real
It's
metal benders, sorry.
a paper clip or a thumbtack or a nail. It just doesn't really seem like there's any point to it.
I'm curious about the health benefits or effects of that because I don't think that's very beneficial having metal inside your
It's not
body.
very
Is it
beneficial,
coated
but
in
I don't think
anything?
it's very like actually no, that's false. It
There's
can
no
be
coating on
very,
it?
very bad. Because if the magnet coating breaks,
That's
then
what I was
it can get into your bloodstream.
Yeah, that's what you don't
which
want.
is real bad.
You're big dead. Sorry about that.
Depends on what it's made out of, but what if it corrodes or something like that? And that's just in your body now. That could probably cause a pretty
That's why-
serious infection. Because it's one thing to just have, getting cut by a metal screw or something, and of course, it's still,
Tetanus.
tetanus is still a big issue. But it's
Mhm.
another thing to have something metallic in your body itself. It's not like it's coded or designed for that. People that have metal implants in their back or hip replacements or something like that, they're designed for that. These rare earth metal magnets aren't designed to be in a body.
They aren't. They should be out in the wild, in Earth. Of course.
We must set the metal free. Free the metal.
It starts flying away. Woo!
It's an amazing way to get sepsis.
That's. Mhm.
There's always some interesting things on YouTube. Just have to look closely.
Like our channel.
No. Definitely not. There's better stuff you can watch.
What are you doing sticking around here for? We're glad you are. But what are you doing here?
Why are you? Oh, shoot!
Imagine if they these magnets were actual real things, humans and can speak, and just imagine it just being in the body. Be like, what are you doing here? Nah, I'm just here just because,
That's
I'm sure
You're just overthinking this a bit too much.
No, it's
Yeah.
fine, it's fine, it's fine.
They just cut themselves open and put me here. It's chilling.
Yeah, man.
That reminds me of an interesting video I saw kind of like that about aerogel and how sometimes if you can change its properties just a little bit, it's not just a useless material. It's very porous, like a sponge. That's what it is. It's kind of not porous, but it has small holes everywhere, and it's very brittle. But it was cool how they were able to change that by just adding a little bit of other materials, and they actually made it completely fireproof, which was pretty cool. And there's one person who was able to make themselves waterproof by wrapping it around their whole skin. It's kind of like the
I feel
prosthetic
like
thing.
if they wrapped it around your entire skin, that might be bad. I don't like. What is
It's
it
not
made out of?
attached to your skin. It's almost
So I guess
picture it clear saran wrap and wrapping that around you. That's kind of what they did.
Yeah, that would be
Mm.
fun.
Interesante,
Except it was
interesante.
more like a paste material at first that you had to rub on.
Interesting.
Mm. Isn't that the same material people rub on stuff to make waterproof, and they just splash on it? See if it's. Oh,
So it's a fragile sponge.
seems
I
like
have
it could use on other stuff, I guess.
It's probably really hard to make though.
It's
So,
expensive too.
Yeah. Doesn't seem like that's everywhere. So maybe in future time, it will be everywhere, and people will be with magnets inside of their hands.
It's great.
Walking around covered in aerogel.
It just look weird.
Doesn't it have a bluish color? I
Mm,
think I've seen
it's kind of just clear.
Uh,
It'd be pretty weird though to step into or just get wet and not feel the water on your skin, and to have it just slide off.
Oh, that sounds odd.
It would be like that pufferfish meme. Oh.
Carrot.
Carrot. I made that
video
carrot,
was
homies.
so sad.
It was funny.
The man just killed the pufferfish after so violently. It's just
I wonder if he got poisoning like in Minecraft, where you just eat a pufferfish and you just
Well, they have
take
to
some damage.
prepare it really carefully in order for that not to happen.
If they cook a pufferfish wrong, you die. That's basically what it is.
That's true. It's very eating pufferfish is very common in the Asian countries.
I
That's
want to do that.
would you just randomly just go out on the streets and just eat a puffer fish?
No.
No. Why would
I
I
think
do
I
that?
would be
You know,
interested.
they're
I would be
live.
interested, but you have to trust in
Sell
that
it at, like,
chef.
fancy
Exactly.
restaurants.
No,
Fish
they
is
sell it actually
very-
in like street markets in China.
You have to
I was watching
put
a food
your
documentary on that.
life in their hands, basically. Like, if
have
you
to
Yeah.
cook,
really I think almost like all this pufferfish species have a it's like more poisonous than cyanide. It kill up 40 humans. Like one pufferfish can kill 40 humans.
Mm.
If you're gonna eat pufferfish, you really have to trust that chef knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust no Chinese street chef for that.
Nah, you
This is
definitely
a
would.
bit racist there, buddy. You better chill. It's a bit racist there, buddy.
But imagine if you just ate it and you never knew that it was pufferfish. You would be like, bruh.
I mean, I guess if it's in that scenario, but I would never order it, and I would also be kind of pissed that they just fed me puffer fish without me knowing.
They have to let you know, especially with something that dangerous,
That's true. That's true.
because you never know if they mess up or something. So there's probably some sort of, you know,
Actually, I'm pretty sure they can harm themselves. The chef can harm themselves if they cook it wrong too. Because like, if the poison gets on their skin, then they're not gonna be in good shape.
Obviously.
the poison, the toxin when it's cooked. Do you think it becomes in a gaseous state? What
Yeah.
if face mask or something so they don't breathe that in?
That's a good question. To Google. All right, y'all keep talking.
Oh God, that was a big cutout.
Yeah, just
Like, y'all keep talking. I'm gonna look this up. Silent.
All right.
couldn't understand anything he said, but I guess he's
Trying to
just
understand.
move on to another topic, I guess.
Yeah. Meanwhile.
I don't got any. Is everyone still here?
Yeah, I'm still here. Of course, all of us are here. You have a topic
about-
for us, Maru-chan?
None of y'all
Yes,
are
Rao-chan,
talking.
please.
No, I don't have any.
Aw.
What about
Do you have any
United?
topics? I don't have any topics. I'm just kind of like, rolling with the tides, I guess you could say.
I didn't even know we were doing anything today.
What about you, Specs? Anything relatively small or something?
Well, I'm doing research on it. I mean, I won't do too much because, of course, we're doing a podcast now. But it's called tetrodotoxin, and I didn't see anything about it becoming a gas when cooked. But interestingly, it does block sodium from getting to the brain, which shuts off all messages from going to the brain through the nervous system. So when you try to use a muscle, it just doesn't work. So
That's why, yeah, it causes paralysis. That explains
Yeah,
that part.
turns into a limp noodle.
Oh, damn. I don't want to be a limp noodle. Just imagine. You're just kind of
I
flopping
can't
there.
quite
just-
find it.
What
However,
it
I
was
think it's called
say it's lethal. So
tetrodotoxin. Tetrodotoxin. I think that's what it's called. But
tetrodotoxin.
I don't think it goes into a gas. Or if it does, I can't really find it. So that was a failure. Oh well. Let's just assume it does.
I mean, it's either two things. It's either it does become a gas, and there's some sort of face protection so you don't breathe that in when you're cooking it, or the heat just breaks the poison apart, so it just becomes a bunch of useless elements that don't do anything.
I think it's the second.
I
Let's go
think
with
it's not necessarily I think it's a mix of both. Because I feel like it won't go into a gas, but I don't think the heat will tear apart the poison. Like, I feel like it's still gonna be there.
And
Because
people
they're
are just
able to
hospitalized for eating it.
some sort of gland that they put out.
Yeah.
I didn't do much research on it, but it's
Wow.
probably either
The
in
ring-
the blood just naturally, or it's a gland like a venom gland in snakes or something. So at that point, it really depends. 'Cause if it's in the blood, then I feel like as it's cooked, it doesn't really separate completely. so it's probably not going to turn into a gas. But if it's in a gland and it's localized in one area in some sort of liquid form, then maybe. But who knows? Maybe at that point, when it turns into a gas, it's just not as volatile.
Mm.
Mm.
I mean, it's a range for 20 to 8 hours, so you could get paralysis or you could die. Tetrotoxin, that's what we're talking about as well.
Tetro.
Mhm.
I think that's what it's called. I forgot.
Yeah, it's very tough to find.
I know that.
Let's read some of the uses for it. It can be used for voltage
yeah.
and sodium channels. Causes paralysis, though. Potential pain relief. Wow.
Okay.
Even used for severe cancer pain. I did not know that. That's very interesting.
So we're using pufferfish to cure cancer. That's
The
not
big
true.
brain.
Quite a bit of usually in very small dosages. It could probably numb some part of the body where the nerves are.
Mm. I
Used
mean,
in
you
a
figure
very
if it's
controlled,
causing shit off your
not like a
nerves,
pill that you probably just take. That is probably very iffy procedure to go about.
Yeah.
there's some things where I'm just like, is this okay? Is it not? I don't know.
Some symptoms include headache, dire forces, body numbness, dysarthria, dysphagia, nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain,
Dysphagia.
phagia, yes, dysphagia. I'm
Dude.
sorry, I'm not very good at weakness and lack of coordination. Diaphoresis.
Which has to do with sweating.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that as well. Okay, I'm sorry.
It's all good.
And people are willing to take anything as long as it has a chance of helping them. Even with those deadly
True.
toxins, they'll take it.
Yeah,
Even if there's a
anything
chance
to
that they
treat
will,
the
like,
pain.
harm them, there is a chance they will treat the pain.
Yeah, y'all medical experts, so you know
It's
about
like
it.
what they do in Mexico. They give a type of worm to people who have like Crohn's disease or like some sort of bowel issue, and it has a chance of helping them. For most people, it works, but there are some cases where it doesn't work and causes more harm.
Oh dear. I know they're
Oh,
like pincher ants. No, that's not what they're called, but there are some type of ants that have like really strong bite, and
Mhm.
people use them in replace of like stitches. Like they just squeeze your skin together.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's very
Strong.
very, very weird. It's like, all right, let me have this ant bite you real quick. You'll be fine.
So I guess that's the alternative if there isn't any stitches nearby.
Well, the alternative is bad news, so we don't want that news.
Kinda
I'm
crazy.
done,
The
Craig.
type
It's going good. You interrupted Craig, you monster.
Stop talking. It's Craig's turn.
Oh, I'm sorry, Craig. Go ahead.
Excellent story.
Way to
Oh,
go.
thank you, Craig.
So far.
Bravo.
We can't just let Craig have the spotlight. It'll just ruin our.
Craig, stop
Craig
stealing it.
already has such a big ego already. Don't feel.
Don't feel him up.
Whoa, whoa. Can't mess with Craig. Okay?
Ooh. Oh yeah, on the topic of like what Kevin was talking about, like, tapeworms, tapeworms also do that. I think that's crazy though. People eating tapeworms. Like those things could grow like 10 feet long, just inside your body, sucking up all your nutrients.
Yeah, with tapeworms, they take a pill and they put a tapeworm inside the pill, like a baby one, and so they just
Yeah.
ingest that, and it just eats like the food they eat.
Nasty.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty.
You think that's
Mhm.
nasty, but then you have to realize that most of our digestive system is just composed of bacteria. It's called
Yeah.
intestinal flora, and that's what gives us our cravings. It's just the bacteria sending a signal to our brain that says, "Hey, I need this sugar. I need this salt."
It's like your nervous system signals to the brain. Chocolate's really good right
and that's why people get fat. Pretty much. It's just their brain just struggles with turning it off. It's just like, you know what? I'm feeling hungry. I just had a burger. No, you're hungry.
Hunger.
Really up to a bacteria. Bacteria doesn't really let us know we're hungry. That has to deal with a lot more that our body actually does control. But the intestinal flora helps break down our food. It helps to signify when it needs something. It's our cravings aren't really what we need. It's usually what the bacteria itself needs.
Mhm.
And it's interesting because usually when you crave something, you're usually craving the flavor. So I wonder if the bacteria also tells your brain it sort of like stimulates your tongue, the cells in your tongue. 'Cause otherwise, how else would you get that craving for the taste? When you're craving popcorn, it could be for the salt, but it could also be for the buttery taste of the popcorn and the crunch. So maybe it's a bit more than the bacteria, or
The
either the bacteria controls more than just letting your brain know, I need this right now.
I need
Yeah, I think those are questions
Popcorn.
that will be answered in the future because that's still like that's a more recent discovery.
yeah.
Yeah, because also it's just sort of difficult to test a human body.
Yeah, that's not very easy.
Imagine disliking the taste of anything you just needed, like disliking the taste of food, just in general. Like
Damn.
you try to eat food and it's just nasty. Any food. That'd be a sad existence.
Or
Mm.
allergic to everything.
There's people that are allergic to food, and I was just
Oh, yeah.
To food, but like what type of certain food? That because like if you're just
No, no, no.
allergic to
They
food,
just allergic to food. Like they need
Just
a
food in
tube
general.
that goes to their stomach.
oh, like anorexia and stuff like that.
No.
But that's
No,
different.
No, that's people that don't want to eat.
eating disorder.
There
Oh,
are
that's right.
people who physically cannot eat because they're allergic to it.
Hmm.
Are you sure
It's
it's allergic, or is it that their stomach can't like digest it?
Do you know what that's called? Here,
No, I don't know.
Afro.
Yes, you know.
Really rare. Rare. All types of food.
Yeah, I don't
I mean-
know what it's called. I just know that
I'm guessing it's not the food itself that's the problem, more so like the reaction that the body or the response the body has.
Probably more.
to it.
Usually that's why when you're allergic to something, you're
it's just like it
usually
may not
allergic
be
to
something
several
that's
other things. You go
going
test it for,
through.
apples, and you come out with pears and bananas and apples and grapes and all this other type of stuff. Because usually you're not allergic to just a food in general. It's some sort of protein or something in that food that's found in other foods. It's why like when you're allergic to fruit, you're allergic to several food at a time. That's also why when you're getting tested for something, they'll like pull out a ton of needles and just start stabbing your back with it. Because those are all in a food group. And if you have an allergic reaction to just one of them, then it's probably just something specific in that food. And if you're allergic to all of them in that category, then they can just give the general diagnosis of, okay, you just can't have this specific
Yeah.
protein or whatever else is in this food. And then that's how people get very long list of food allergies, because you might not be allergic to every food in that category, but it's still a general idea to go off of. Okay, well, I'm allergic to 3 out of 5 foods in this specific group with this specific protein.
Yeah.
Let's just stay away from this.
Yeah, because when
'Cause you never
Afro
know
said
if
that, like
one's more severe than the
allergic
other,
to
and
food,
you're
I
gonna
was
die.
like, that's a little suspicious. Like I'm thinking like protein. I'm thinking like, different things that are inside the food.
Food. They cannot
Food.
eat food. Like,
Better way to phrase it.
there's got to be a better way to phrase, but I don't. That's the basis is they cannot eat food.
Really probably very common amongst all food that they're allergic to, or in the majority of food. That's probably what you're talking about.
I don't know, man. All I know is that they needed a tube in their stomach and they couldn't eat anything else.
Yeah, because the stupid thing about allergies is just your brain overreacting. It's just this is gonna kill me. Get it out. I'm gonna,
Like, whoa there, buddy.
Oh, have
Is
you
that
seen?
some
right?
peanut butter I smell?
But I've seen some like people like like somebody was like allergic to carrots and they ate a little bit of carrots every single day so they won't get allergic and stuff. I think that's pretty cool. Like slowly, like
It's dumb that it's just your brain overreacting, but you can also
yeah,
slowly expose your brain to it and your body to say, "Hey, I'm not dying from this, all right? I'm dying more from you closing my throat than this actual food.
It's okay. It's okay now.
Oh, my microphone's not working. Okay.
I'm back. I couldn't hear nobody.
Hello, Afro.
Well, I don't think anyone was talking.
Yeah, it just got quiet.
Why do you go quiet?
All right, go. Somebody say something.
Something.
Right?
We have
Well,
topics, of course.
we do. All right. Well, we can talk about. Let's see. I really didn't want to do this, but
Oh no! Are you gonna expose us?
No, I ain't gonna. I could, but I ain't gonna do that.
I ain't gonna do that. Not right now.
we ain't gotta go in the quotes yet. That's something
That's
for
for
a later time.
another podcast. Yes, be excited. We say a lot
We
of
need a
stupid stuff.
whole podcast of their own. Okay,
Hmm
we gotta get everybody that's in the quotes like announced first, because there are some people that they just don't know who those are.
That's true. That's
Like,
true.
ain't nobody know who Maruchan's brother is. Ain't nobody know who that is.
That's true. That's true.
But
Right.
what
That's
are
you
the
get him on the
perks?
podcast as a special guest.
Yeah.
This
Hopefully.
guy. So what do you guys feel are the perks of being a boy? One of the boys.
A man. Just a man. Just
I'm not a boy.
This is like it's ridiculous to talk about in the first place. This is like a last ditch one. Oh, we don't know what to talk about. We'll just do this.
I have a topic if you'd rather go over that.
Let's do him.
yeah. Go right ahead.
Okay, fine. Hold on. I gotta open it so you can just edit this part out. Let me just get this ready.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll start it off with an introductory question. How many of you guys buy stuff?
Obviously, everybody has to buy stuff.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So,
But like,
you
what
know,
certain stuff?
clothes, sometimes maybe food, I don't know, maybe a new game.
All right. All right.
I'm
Yes.
assuming that's everybody, but I figured I'd ask anyway.
I buy stuff occasionally.
Interesting. Yeah, no, it doesn't have to be. I'm not saying frequent. I'm just asking in general over your lifetime, especially more popular as you're obviously becoming an adult, purchasing more of your own items. Okay.
And buying, doing microtransactions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I found this
Yeah.
pretty interesting article on an interesting facts and statistics they've gathered that teenagers are actually buying less clothes and less food, and overall our spending has hit and as an overall.
Oh,
Just
you're
cut
cutting out, homie.
So, shall I
But
repeat
basically-
that?
I think it's just because people just don't. They want to save their money now.
Yeah.
They realize how little money we are gonna have. So you want to save the stuff you got. So you don't want to spend all that money on Nike shoes. They're gonna
Oh,
last
no.
for like 2 years.
People are later gonna be like, "Oh, I should not buy those Nike shoes. I should have bought like Walmart brand shoes.
Yeah, that's basically
Could have
what
saved
I
it for like the
bought-
food and stuff like that."
I got some Payless shoes, and they lasted me like 4 years, and I still got them. They're still going strong. I wore them to the beach, man. I wore them
Oof.
everywhere. They
In
are
the sand.
so
Oh God,
in the
sandy shoes is
sand.
not very great. Oh,
They're
So you guys ready for some of the facts?
Yeah,
Like,
I
I
think
expected them to be like
more
garbage.
facts
No.
and statistics to really form a conclusion. Because right now, I feel like there's a lot more to do with it. It's not just teenagers themselves and understanding that money is valuable and not something to throw away. It could also do with, not just not wanting to buy things or understanding that one pair of jeans could last like 2 days if you really try hard enough, or also just parents more. So
You have this says, I guess yearly or just the average dollar amount spending on handbags is $87, and the average spent on clothing was $507 yearly.
Oh, that's
Nice.
Let's see.
damn. That's quite a lot.
It might seem like a lot, but
Yeah,
it's
pretty
really
good.
not.
I put probably is lower.
You
Yeah.
don't really need a handbag
Hold
all the
on.
time. Like 2 will last you like decades.
But realize
And
we're
if it
also
helps
men, so
get understanding
Oh
for what the
man.
numbers were before, this is
So we
11%
can
lower
walk a
than it
handbag
was
if
in
we need one.
2019.
yeah, because I mean, obviously we're not going out that much because pandemic and all.
Okay, let's see here.
Pandemic.
Yeah, so
Totally forgot
this is
about
down
that.
11%.
Still going on.
And on average, it's a total of $2,150 a year total spending.
Holy
Mhm.
shit.
Let's see here.
It's a lot of money.
Oh, this is interesting. Also, 50%
Mhm.
say Amazon is the #1 spender online shopping destination. So obviously it helps with deals.
Yeah.
And it says 90% of teens said they've been shopping online during the fall. So online shopping definitely makes a difference.
Yeah,
You
it's
got
like occasionally cheaper.
And then only 33% shopped at department stores, which was 36% lower than the year earlier.
I mean, that can be because of the virus. That
Yeah,
one's a bit iffy. But
it
with
stopped people.
I don't
yeah,
think
with the online,
statistic though.
then
And I don't think it's
And
the majority due to the pandemic. It's just personally for me going to department stores and going to Walmart or going to Lowe's or whatever. There's not really anything I need there. The occasional thing I'll get, but if I'm really looking for something specific, it's so much easier to just go online, go on Amazon, search up a keyword, just I don't know,
click that button, buy
click,
now, or
and
add the
then
cart, and just
not
wow,
only do you
done.
have like one available option, you have several pages, and then you have related things, and then you're like, oh well, this works a bit more for me. This thing I need this
It's a more
for, it's a bit
affordable.
more specific, and it works a bit better.
Mhm.
It's just
Mhm.
the availability of things online, and then also the fact that you can get deals a lot easier online. It's so much harder to go out and go from store to store just looking for a pair of pants nowadays. Oh, this
That's
one doesn't fit. Oh, none of these fit. So let's go to the mall. Oh, none of these fit. Okay, well then let's go to Walmart. Oh, none of these fit. Now where do we go? You just
Okay.
go on Amazon. You can put in your specific, pant length, hip width, and so on and
length.
so forth. Color you want, whatever
Oh,
khakis or jeans, and then you get tons of options.
All right, so I have 2 more
And,
pieces of
and
information here, and
you
then you guys
noted,
can
Alright.
talk all you want. So I want you to guess. What do you think of the 2 biggest items men or the male community spend their money on? Teenagers,
video games.
male teenagers.
Shoes.
teenage.
There's 2 of them.
The
Hmm.
shoes.
I would say
Okay, we
like
have shoes.
I'm
gaming
thinking
things, like
Games, alright.
entertainment things.
I'm thinking video games and probably sports stuff.
Okay, all right. So I'll tell you. It's food and video games. Food first, video games second.
Hey,
Yeah,
I was right. I got in video games. At least.
that seems like that's pretty
You
accurate.
got
And then
it, you
the
got
final
it. That is
piece
pretty
of
accurate.
information was that
I don't spend
48% of
money
teens
on
believe the economy is getting worse
Well, if you believe it's
compared to
better, then
32% a year ago.
Yeah, if you say it's getting better,
it's stupid.
why? Yeah.
It's stupid. Period. You say
younger community.
That's us, man. That's us, dude. The white grandpa. I'm on the
Sounds like we're
white
we're
grandpa.
part of the news as well. Yes,
Hello.
he is.
This
He's our father. He's like 66. No, he's not 66, guys. He sounds like that.
welcome. Bunch of fools lot.
Butcher Foods Live now with our reporter here, Hamo.
Well, yes.
I know in our teachers class, United and who else is here? Murray-chan knows.
Chan, yeah.
Yeah, that
We talked about
our
that.
Our history teacher was talking about who, like, going to like these big department stores like Walmart and stuff, and how it's bad. And I'm like, well,
It's opinionated.
yes, but actually no. It's like it's like he's saying it's such a bad thing. It's like it's really not. like if you go to Walmart and you're getting stuff, it's just I don't feel like it's as big of a deal
Well, it's
as
not bad
you
for the
think it is.
consumer.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah,
bad
it's
for the
not
consumer,
bad.
but it's
Yeah,
not.
it's more one end of the deal. Like just
Yeah,
figure it out as a trapezoid. Like
yeah. It's
one's got
also
a better side than the other.
yeah. It needs to be fair for all sides, but it's not horrible now. Like he's saying it as if it's worse than what it was before. Like it's not as bad as it was beforehand because it's just smaller shops. They just can't compete because they just can't get enough stuff. But the struggle is when they can't get enough. Like Walmart can just buy out probably any small business that we can think of.
Yeah, it's
Everybody
hard to
and they
understand,
mom.
but and that's just the free market at work. That's what this. And I think that it's some people may not like it, even though they say they don't like it. I bet more than 95% of those people won't even be willing to pay the higher prices
Yeah.
at the small businesses, even though they say they don't like that. There's these big businesses that are dominating the market, such as Walmart.
I feel like like when we are gonna have to pay taxes, if we get into like that spot, like the middle class, right? You're in the middle class, you want to move up.
Mm.
Everybody does.
Everybody.
You don't want to stay in the middle class. But if they end up taxing people who gain a lot of money too much, then who is gonna want to go up? They're gonna want to stay where they are, and that's gonna like stunt growth a bit. Because like if
That's a smart
I'm
point.
going to, because like there's gonna be people who want to get really big, and there's gonna be people who want to just stay where they are because they end up just in a fine little spot where they are. When you're really big, there's a
That
lot of
sweet
stress
medium.
involved. Yeah, you get that sweet medium in, and when you're poorer now, it's faster to move to the middle class, which is what it should be. I feel like it should be faster to move to the middle class, and it should be a like decent. You should be able to get to like a higher class without having to step on other people, because it's kind of what you got to do now. Because it's really hard to get up there legitimately.
And go after that competition.
Yeah.
I find one strange thing when people talk about large businesses running our nation and complaining about how it's not fair for smaller shops. I think they're ignoring it. That's just the nature of business. When a business
Yes,
is popular enough, it's
exactly.
just going to grow. They have more money, so they can buy new things. They can make their shop bigger. They can hire more people, and that's just the nature of business. The more money you get, the more you can grow. That's just how it works. By saying, "Oh, these big companies, it's not fair for the smaller ones. Why don't we give the smaller ones attention?" Well, then those smaller ones are just going to get bigger too. You know
It's
that
monopoly helping
well,
decreasing
Yeah.
another monopoly.
grandparents
And
shop
I
down the
think there's
street on the corner that sells stuff they make at their farm. If you give them enough money, well, then they're going to do the exact same thing that Acme does. They're going to have grocery stores all over the place. They're going to, buy out like farmland and get a ton of fresh vegetables or, not fresh vegetables. That's just the
GMOs.
nature of business. You can't really control that unless you put so many regulations on creating a business that nobody wants to do it.
Exactly. See, that's a lot of
Mhm.
people don't think about these things, but they also forget that for every rising business, there's also a falling business. Look at Kmart. They were like one of the biggest shopping complexes, like back in the early 2000s and 90s, and now look, they're out of business completely. They declared
Bosco's as
bankruptcy.
well, isn't that?
And Sears.
Bosco Sears, yeah. One of
And
the
then
A lot
look
of
at the
big
people
rise of
department stores.
Amazon and Walmart. It's a chart. It's like the triangle or a V. You could even look at it.
Hmm.
Everything
People just
comes
like
and
jumping
goes.
the gun and assuming things. They just assume that the bigger the company, the worse it is. And some of their practices can be bad, but as we're discussing, that's just the nature of business. They grow. You can't stop that. And It's just ridiculous to say
The
that bigger companies are
yeah,
stupid or bad because
the
they're
goal
big.
should be
They're,
to get rid of the cheap way to get up top. Like they shouldn't have to cheat and do such to get up top.
That's gonna be
And
hard.
when they are up top, they shouldn't be doing like backhanded stuff and like deals that are like bad and stuff. They shouldn't be doing that, and they should get caught when they do that. Which
The
is
Bad,
biggest
don't-
bad.
complication.
sometimes they get caught, but there are other times where they just don't, and it's bad.
I mean, I don't think too many companies do bad things as much as we think. Going back to the starting days of Amazon or Walmart, they were small shops too, and they had to struggle in times probably like during the Great Depression, people starting up or just struggling times, just struggling with financial issues. They've just
Mhm.
popular, so they grew, and I don't think nowadays there's just more availability for things. If you want it's bad to say, but if you want cheap labor, you can go put some factories, across the pond, and you can get things made for a pretty
The
inexpensive
fraction of the
cost
price.
and sell it here.
Yeah, I feel like that's not a good thing. That's not.
I'm not saying it's
That
a
is
good thing.
not
I'm saying
okay.
that's just the availability they have. That's why
Yeah.
these companies do these
Yeah.
quote unquote bad things, is because it saves them money. And I know people are like, oh, money's controlling our world nowadays. But I don't think people realize that to maintain a business, you need money. And I'm not creating an excuse, for free child labor. That's terrible.
No.
But
Yeah.
people just jump the gun and say that everything a company does is bad. But if they don't do some of those things, they're going to go out of business. And look, Walmart's gone. Where are you going to get your stuff? Now you have to go to the smaller shops, and it's going to be more expensive. Then people complain. People just like to
Yeah, that's the
complain. It's
problem.
ridiculous.
Oh,
If you were to
it's
go
very
ask
quite
anybody,
ridiculous.
go
Yeah.
through, I don't even know how, hundreds of surveys and ask, would you like to pay higher prices? They would all say no. But then would you ask, well, would you like to support small businesses? They would all say yes. So it's like
They need
people
to
don't
put it
realize
in
the
the same
consequences of their
question.
opinions.
Because like they need to put it in the same question. They need to put it as, would you rather pay higher wages so that small businesses can float, or pay lower wages and let small businesses sink? So that so then people can get a better perspective on what it is they're really voting for. Because if you're
That is
separating
true.
them,
Yes, please.
then it's just like, oh
Politicians
yeah, I
twist
want to pay
things
less.
all the time.
But if you pay less, then this thing happens. But it's like, I didn't know that. You just gave me this option. You didn't tell me that was happening. It's like
Exactly,
a
and that's a
cheese thing.
problem. Because people don't always know that
Yeah,
these
you
things
need to
happen. They just hear the politicians and it sounds good, and then they think that's okay. It's not
Mhm.
necessarily even their own fault.
Yeah, people aren't stupid. It's not their fault. They're just misinformed, or they don't have enough
That's the
information
problem.
to fully
Yeah.
make a decision. I think what Afro was saying, putting it in the same question, allows them to sort of balance their values by putting in the same question. Do you want to spend less but have those small companies sink and die out, or do you want to spend more and let them grow? That is really a really good question, because you're going to make people question their own values and
Mhm.
question what's worth it, or what's more worth it, getting a pair of shoes at a relatively low cost, or getting one that or one that and there's a lot of people have this idea that smaller companies have higher quality things, and I don't know if that's an accurate judgment to make. I'm not saying that they're
Mhm.
bad,
That's
but
not entirely true, but that's not entirely false either.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
some companies, they really put a lot of work in because that'll help them grow. If you have really high quality shoes, then you're going to grow in popularity. Then your business rises. I mean, that's great. So it's
Raises
not
per-
like it's not perfectly true. People are just trying to make a quick buck. They're probably not going to have the most high quality things. But I think people just assume too much, and they just don't have enough information to say this or that. I think you have to really challenge them and put enough information to a question and put like two opposing sides of it to get an accurate response from it.
Yeah, it's what people need.
Then
It's
again,
always
our
one
opinions
side
may
of the
change
coin.
in like 20 years. So who knows?
And a lot of people, I think, they don't realize that every time you try to twist the arm of a corporation or a company, you're just making it worse for the consumer, because then all they try to do is find loopholes. So everything you've just said, And I think it just makes the situation worse when you try to put all these laws in place and rules, thinking that's going to help. I think it just makes it worse.
It's like playing truth or dare or something. It's like whenever you're given a dare, you always find every single loophole you can, so that you don't necessarily have to do what they're telling you to do.
Similar to a would you rather, just you try to find that loophole.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good point, because it's not necessarily like you're doing a bad thing. You just don't want to have to deal with that terrible situation. So,
Yeah.
in a would you rather analogy, truth or dare. Usually those dares are pretty insane, and most of the time you don't want to do it.
Jump off the roof.
You can compare that to companies, and if you do put a lot of regulations and rules on it, that's just going to absolutely destroy business. So of course they're going to do, questionable things. They're not probably illegal, but they might not be the most morally correct things or politically correct. But they're going to do that because they're putting so much weight on top of them.
That's exactly the problem most of the time.
Their ceiling's going to collapse, and then that company's gone.
Then again, to go on the other side, if you put no weight on them, they're going to do that anyway.
Yeah, but that
Or
weight,
they're going to do it. More.
Yeah, and luckily that weight that they do have is the free market.
There needs to be a balance at play.
Yeah, that's a good part about the free market is that's what it does.
Like they just shouldn't run a business because they're either bad people or they just can't handle the pressure.
Yeah, what Hamon's saying, that's just the free market, and he knows more about this than I do. But that's sort of how it works. And that's how you can apply this to everyday life. If you want to get something done, if you want someone else to do something, you're going to have to put a little pressure on them. If you want your child to do well in school, you're going to have to constantly tell them, hey, you got a bad grade, you have to do better. And they might not like it, but that's the only way they're going to succeed. And by putting the weight on them, by saying, hey, you have this big company, Walmart, over here, how are you going to beat them? Then that smaller company is going to try harder. If they really want to get big enough and, reach their goals as a company, you're going to have that little bit of weight. And those big companies act as those weights. So there's nothing really wrong with the system we have in play now. Some things are bad for sure, but it's at a good enough place where a consumer has a relatively good shopping experience, and those smaller companies that really want to do something have. It's probably really hard. I haven't tried to start a company. It's definitely hard, but that way is what's going to push them to do better. You're not going to grow as a person if no one's telling you what's wrong or what's right. You're just going to do whatever.
I feel like this only became a prevalent issue when like a bunch of small businesses started closing because they couldn't handle themselves during the pandemic.
Yeah,
which is why
that is a big
it wasn't bad
contribution.
before. It wasn't really bad before the pandemic, and now during it, it's just a mess everywhere, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to clarify. When I meant that the free market, that's what it does. So it does impose its own restrictions. That's the beauty of it. So if you're right about these companies breaking these rules, like you have to think about they can't, because you have to remember that the only way they're staying open is the consumer. That the consumer supplies their money. That's what keeps the business open, running, new products, new goods. So if they were to do any of these things, they would close. Because people are like, oh, I don't want to shop there. Look what they've done. Look at this place. It's not clean. They don't put enough money into. There's no lights on. It's dark in here. They would close. So there's standards that have to be met, and the consumer sets those standards. And luckily, that's what the free market is all about. And it closes the businesses that aren't good and keeps the ones open that are. That's all. I just want to clarify what I was trying to say.
That was a very good explanation.
So there's no confusion. That's all.
Nice.
It's a crazy world.
Not much you can do about it. People are just going to be complaining and complaining. So.
But I mean, they're right in some ways, because no system is perfect.
Yeah.
Capitalism is not the most perfect system. It's not like, it's not 100%. There's always problems.
All those Karens out there, they're gonna complain.
Oh yes.
Why is a mask such a problem? Just put it on your face and everything will be dandy. But no.
I was watching through TikTok and everything. It was like I was watching a Karen video. It was like, I want to breathe O2, not CO2. I was like, just wear a mask for 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
If you're breathing CO2, then your mask is horribly made.
Yeah. Just breathe shallow breaths.
Or wear your mask when you're in public places. Then when you're at home, take that giant big old breath that you had because you're too fat to carry your body around. And then you can be all fine and dandy.
Mm-hmm.
I think just humans in general are naturally rebellious. It's not necessarily
Yeah.
a bad thing. That's what it has allowed us to get to this point, breaking the bounds that nature and society has put on us. But it can be a bad thing when you talk about the quote unquote Karens. They're just
Vaccines are bad.
taking that naturally rebellious side of wanting to explore more and see more and just putting it on like buckets load of steroids for no reason. There's no reason to be against masks. And people say, well, this article said that masks are bad. Well, compare that to the thousands of articles that say masks aren't bad. And it's not even a fair comparison because you have 1,000 to 1, and you're going to use that one to say, well, masks are bad. That's ridiculous.
Of course, if they find something that supports their point, they're just gonna use it.
Yeah.
It's like there'll be people who like try and sneak their way into restaurants and things. Like my mom, she can only say, like, "Can you put on a mask, please?" And if the person says no, she can't kick them out because then they'll file a complaint and she'll be fired. It's just like it's not a good system here.
I think that's really up to the manager, though. The manager has to have set those standards for not just for the customers themselves, but also for the employees.
Company.
If someone comes with a
That's what it
mask,
is
they
in
should be
most
kicked out because
larger-
that's a risk, that's a liability. So
yeah, but
yeah,
that's what
they
it is in
get
most
fired,
larger
but I think
companies.
it's up to the manager
be
to say, hey, if someone comes in with a mask, you have to kick them out. And it shouldn't even be you have to just get them out of there. Getting a mask on is not that difficult. So if they really have their heart set on that restaurant or that shop, they can go to the dollar store, buy a mask for $1. Some of them even have free masks. Just go grab one, put it on.
Or you
Here's
can
your
add
mask.
some companies you can also add for masks and stuff like that. So they'll maybe
Yeah.
provide you one.
I think that's why
There's
it's so
someone I
ridiculous.
know
It's
that
not
like
that hard.
You have to pay $1 million fine to get into a store nowadays. No, you just have to wear a mask. It's not hard. It's like putting on your underwear every morning. It's not difficult, and that's why everyone's so like amazed and just blown away by these people that refuse to put on masks because let's say they don't do any good. They clearly don't do anything bad. I mean, that's just a terrible judgment to make. But let's say they don't do anything good and they're just an accessory. Just put it on anyway, like just to be safe. Like if there aren't any studies saying that they're good, like people are still, scientists are still trying to figure out what they do specifically. You better be. It's better to be safe than sorry. Because what if, wearing a mask in a different dimension where scientists haven't discovered the potential of masks? That what if it does do good? Oh well, now you don't have a virus that you're coughing your lungs up every day and you can barely breathe. Like it's one of those things where there's just no need to be against it.
And masks are also helping you to help other people. So it's a win-win.
And a lot of
Yes.
masks aren't even necessarily about protecting others. Masks are their main job is to protect yourself.
And then there's those major Karens that start coughing on people, and it's like, come on, why you got to do that? That's
Just
not
grow up.
cool.
You're just like 3-year-old stuck in an old woman's body. Just like grow up. This is not a joke. And I get so mad about this because it's the same thing with global warming. And I don't know if you guys want to get into this, but I just get and flat Earth communities. It's just
Well,
Don't get spec started on flat earthers.
I genuinely get mad about this because it's just pure stupidity. There's nothing supporting your claims. And, oh well, if you drop water on the ground, it doesn't roll off the earth because the earth is flipping massive. You morons! What do you think we live on a beach ball? Grow up, all right?
I just think it's hilarious that these people exist.
You're in a single town. Oh well, there's like 20 towns in your counties, and there's like 20 counties in your state. Like what the heck? It's ridiculous. And there's these states in a country, and there's what? Stop! Just shut up and get a life. Go do something else. It's just ridiculous. Close down your Discord and Facebook pages. Grow up, you old woman. Go get a job. Go get a life. Go marry someone. I'm tired of hearing your garbage.